So with Redstone, there's multiple different building styles, and there's different like types of things you can do with Redstone. For instance, there's like traditional Redstone builds, and with traditional Redstone, you can do like farms or doors or even computer like logic. Um, there's also flying machines, and there's also just in creative mode you can do command block computers or command block builds. Now, some people have combined traditional redstone with flying machines, but I haven't really seen a lot of people combine command blocks with traditional redstone. So I kind of made up my own building style, I guess, for redstone, and I use command blocks. So I just use command blocks to speed up traditional redstone. So I'm doing traditional redstone stuff, and then I use command blocks to speed up that those like things. So it'll make more sense the more I explain it. So I call it like a hybrid style of redstone, and I haven't seen many other people do anything like that. So what do I mean by that? Like what does that mean? So really the only commands I ever use are set, which whenever I set, I do like a set block, or I do a set redstone block, which is just a I just that's it. That's the command. That's it. I also do clears, so it just sets it to air. So these are typically the three set commands that I'll use. One to set white blocks, one to set redstone blocks, and the other just to clear. And I always try to use relative commands like this with the little tilde, because it makes just things a lot easier. The other command I'll use is like fill commands. So I'll do the exact same thing. So I'll fill white blocks, redstone blocks, or clear, and of course clear. So fill can be used for typically lines like this of some sort. So it can be horizontal lines going in one direction, but sometimes I'll do like a wall. And the third command I use is clone. Let's say you have 4 bits of information, right? So I set these 4 bits of information. This would equal 11 in binary. What I can do is I can actually clone that. Yeah, I can just clone that to match whatever. So if I want to put something else right here, so like 10, I can clone that and it'll just clone it. Or I can do, and it'll just clone it. Those are the commands I use. So set, fill, and clone. I don't really use anything else. This because I want the authenticity of traditional redstone, but I want to speed it up, because a lot of what slows down traditional redstone is not the redstone itself, it's just busing and control logic. Those two things are really what hinder traditional redstone, because moving information around is very tedious. So it's not impossible, it's just tedious, and it takes like multiple ticks to move something. So you have to be really diligent about it. Whereas if you use command blocks to move the bytes around, basically, yeah, you just replace the busing and whatnot with command blocks. It makes it a lot faster. So you can do things like this. This is a decoder that I've made. I have it hooked up to an output, and that output is hooked up into a register. Believe it or not, this acts as a register. This input is acting as a register right now. So this is a design I use a lot in random builds. It just in pretty much anything. It's just a decoder. So how this decoder works is these first two blocks right here, so this layer and this layer, that's a ROM, and this third layer right here is what's actually like being changed. Anything that's in this layer counts as a 0, and anything that's in this layer counts as a 1. So in this first, I have 4 zeros, so this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you get the point. It counts up to 15 in binary. All I have to do is I just need an input to a clone command that's going to clone just down this line, and then inverted to a clone command that's going to clone down the other line. So I can't remember. I guess this one clones down this line, and this one clones down this line. So this command block basically just clones from this position right here down in a straight line to this final position, like basically where this white block would be. Even though it technically doesn't have to do that, I think it does do that just as a standard command. And that's going to happen on all four of these are going to be the same. So the two command blocks are going to be the same for every single bit. One clones one, the other clones the other. And it just clones the destination is just right here on this line. So yeah, it's just a decoder. You can, so that's the fourth line, but it's 3 in binary. Anyway, it's a very fast decoder. It uses one command block and one NOT gate. So on the output of that, I NOT the output, and that gives me my individual line. So I'm on my 0 right now, so this line is on. And the reason I have a space right here is so that I can have activation lines right here. So for instance, this activates line 0. So line 0, it acts as my increment. So this is going to clone the next tag and put it into the register right here. So what I mean by tag is it's basically just cloning whatever's right here. So it's going to clone that 1, and then if we're in the 1, this command block is going to clone the 2 spot right here. It's going to clone whatever's right here and put it, it's going to set the block right there, but basically it's going to just put it right there. So it just inserts it into this like register pretty much. This activate line, the way it activates, so that's what the space is here for. Basically all it's going to do is it's going to place a block. I'm going to put it glass so it doesn't activate right now, but it places a block of white concrete all the way down this line to this last command block right here. So it just activates all of these, but of course the only command block that's going to actually activate is the one that we have selected. So it'll just be the 0 being activated. So we're going to increment from 0 to 1 just by doing like that. Now we would go from 1 to 2, and from 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, and back to 0. It's pretty quick. We can also do a decrement, so we can count up a bit. And basically it would just do the exact same thing, but in reverse. So we're at 4 right now. We can decrement back to 3, or back to 2, back to 1, or just back to 0. So there's a few different things you can do like that. And you can also, with this design that I made up, it can just keep going up, and you can have multiple different things. So if you wanted something else to be on this line as well, you could do that. There's multiple options, and so these act as like little commands basically. You can have like more of these as well. I don't have one for 2 and 3, but you get the point. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, just random things. It just depends on what you're trying to do. But there's a lot of different options with this. But anyway, I think it's a pretty cool design. I think it's pretty fast design. It can go much faster than what I was pressing the button. I was honestly just limited by how quickly the buttons activate. But anyway, nonetheless, so there's a few kind of cool things you can do, cool little circuits you can do with this. So the first is an AND gate. Now this is an AND gate that you can do with traditional redstone. It's just this AND gate becomes very good with command blocks. How AND gates work is if both inputs are on, the output is on. But if either one is off, it doesn't output, right? So we can have, this is an AND gate pretty much. All you need is a white block and a redstone block as your power source, right? So if we activate this, we get our redstone block, but it's not going to activate this command block because it's not connected at all. That's where the white block comes in, or the white concrete. But if we just place the white concrete, it's not going to get activated because there's no power source. So that's where the redstone block comes in. So, and of course, 0 and 0 still makes 0. So 1 and 0 makes 0, and 1 and 0 makes 0, but 1 and 1 makes 1, and it all that happens, these command blocks, is it just deletes it. But yeah, so this AND gate is very useful with these command blocks, and again, it's just using set blocks. That's all. I don't even use fill or clones in this. It's nothing fancy. It's just, yeah. Anyway, another cool little circuit that you can do is something like this. So this kind of acts as like if else statement, right? So what I mean by that is, all right, so we have an integer, right, I. So if this lever's up, I is equal to 0, but if it's down, I is equal to 1. So if it's like a true or false. But you can do this with other, like, if this is equal to this, blah, blah, or if this is blah, whatever. Right now we're just working with a Boolean statement. So if I is 0, right now it's 0, right? If it's 0 and we click execute, nothing happens. But if we turn this on and we click execute, then it'll turn it on. But if it's still turned on and we keep clicking execute, it's going to stay turned on. The only time it will ever turn off is if we turn this back to 0 and we click execute, it goes back to, right? This is kind of a dumb example now that I think about it. But you get the point, right? There's a conditional statement right there. Specifically based off of if this is on or off, these two different lines activate. It's a good little circuit to have. So you can have two different things happen depending on if this is on or off. So again, it's hard to explain, but there's a lot of different places where this comes in handy. This is kind of a dumb example now that I think about it, but nonetheless, I think it's a cool little building style I came up with. So just to reiterate, the only commands I'm ever really using, and that kind of should be used with this building style, are setblock, fill, and clone commands. And the point is I like the authenticity of traditional redstone, so like I still use a lot of traditional redstone circuits, but my busing and my control logic is almost exclusively done with command blocks, just to speed things up, make it a lot easier to kind of move stuff around. I also use, I replace a few circuits. For instance, registers are not the same. So where you would normally use an RS NOR latch type of memory unit as like for registers, I just utilize the command blocks in order to have registers. So some circuits look a lot different. A lot of these circuits look a lot different with this building style, but it works almost the exact same way. It's just it looks different because I'm using command blocks to speed things up. So a lot of things like XOR circuits are as fast, if not faster, or if not better than an XOR latch made with this building style, as far as I'm concerned. So using a traditional XOR like logic gate circuit is actually better. But using this type of AND gate, like I was showing you a second ago, I think that's better because it's like, oh, it's almost instant, right? It's as fast as it possibly could be. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If anyone decides to like use this, let me know in the comments if you like make something using this concept, and like get creative with it. All right, like it's a building style. It's not like, so I'm like setting up a couple parameters, I guess, that you can follow, but like a couple guidelines, but come up with, there's like an infinite amount of circuits you can make with this. And if you watch my live streams and whatnot, you'll see me using like trying to come up with just random shit using this like building style. So appreciate you guys watching, and tune into the live stream sometimes. I just be chilling, we just be hanging out, doing redstone. If you happen to catch me on a live stream, or if you happen to watch my live streams like after they've already been uploaded to YouTube, you'll see me using this building style pretty much exclusively. with like all my builds. And really, the reason I do that is because I could build stuff like normally, but this just makes it way faster. In general, like I'm able to do bigger projects with realistic timing, because big projects, they take so long to move information around and whatnot. There's so much delay, whereas with this building style, I don't really have to worry about that. I can realistically build big projects, and it can work quickly. It can work in a realistic time manner. Let me put it that way. That's why I enjoy building this way. Appreciate anyone who tuned in. Peace.